Tejeshwar. My name is Tejeshwar and today we are going to do the numericals of units and measurement. Okay, so let us start. So the first numerical that we are going to do today is regarding percentage error. Okay, the numerical is as follows. A physical quantity P is given by the formula A cube B square upon under root C D. Okay, now they have given us the percentage error in A, B, C, D as 1%, 3%, 4%, and 2%. Okay, so first of all we have to find the percentage error. Okay, in P. Okay, so this is the question. So first of all I will rearrange this little bit. So you can write this like this: A cube B square C raised to the power minus 1 by 2 D raised to the power minus 1. You can write P like this. Okay, now what is now you have to find the percentage error in P. So what will be the formula? So you will use this formula that I have told you earlier. We have done this formula before. The formula was like this, something like this. Okay, this is the formula that you will use. Okay, so just now look on carefully at this question. P is, so we will write like this: delta P upon P is equal to 3 delta A upon A plus 2 delta B upon B minus half delta C upon C minus 1 delta D upon D. Okay, you will write like this. Now just substitute the values. Now you know the percentage error in all of them. So relative error you can find out. Yes, what will be the relative error? This delta A upon A is the relative error. Okay, so relative error is equal to percentage error upon 100. Okay, so 3 upon 3 into 1 by 100. Okay, next thing is 2 into 3 by 100. Percentage error in B is 3%. Okay, next one minus half into 4 by 100 minus 1 into 2 by 100. Okay, now just solve this. Okay, so basically this will come out to be 3, 6, 10. Okay, so this is 3 plus 6 minus 4 is 2. Okay, so just we will try and solve this. Okay, 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, 9 minus 2 is 7 and 7 minus 2 is 5. 5 upon 100 is the answer. Or you can multiply this into 100, so you will get the answer as 5%. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, next thing they have asked us is that if the value of P turns out to be Okay, they have given us the approximate value. Okay, they have given us the approximate value. P is equal to 3.763. Okay, to what value should you round off the result? To what value should you round out? So obviously this is 3.763, so you can round it off to 3.8. Okay, this should not be a problem. Okay, so the round out answer will be 3.8. Okay, so this is this question. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Okay, let's go forward now. The next question that we are going to do is, okay, this is the question. Okay, now what they have given in the question is that a book has many printing errors, okay, and contains four different formulas for the displacement of y particle going in a certain periodic motion. Okay, so there is a physics book we are talking about. In the physics book there are many errors. Okay, so in this they have given us four formulas that are given in that book. They are y is equal to a sin 2 pi t upon capital T, y is equal to a sin Vt, C part is y is equal to a upon t and d part is y is equal to a by root 2 sin 2 by t upon capital T plus. Okay, this is the question. Basically, this is a physics book we are talking about, and in this physics book there is a chapter non-periodic motion that you are also going to study. So in this chapter there are many mistakes. Okay, these are the formulas that are given in that chapter, and they want us to find if all the formulas are dimensionally correct or not. Okay, so basically they want us to find if there is any mistake in these formulas. Okay, so first of all, okay, I will tell you what is what. Basically, y is the displacement, just for your knowledge. Okay, you will study this chapter in detail, don't worry. Okay, basic next thing is t. T is the time period. Okay, next one a is the maximum displacement. Okay, these are the given values to us. Okay, now we have to find the errors. Okay, so you know basically displacement is basically the same as distance. Okay, or not same, but unit is same as distance. Time period unit is same as time, and a is also the maximum displacement, that is also same as time. Okay, so we will start with the a part. A part is what? Y is equal to a sin 2 pi t upon t. This is your a part. Okay, now just use dimensional analysis on both the side. I will start with the left hand side first, but left hand side is y. Y is what? Displacement. Yes, for displacement the dimensional unit is L. Okay, so this is about that one. Okay, now let us look at the next one. RHS. RHS, what do we have? We have a sin 2 pi t upon t. So what is a? A is L. Okay, and sin, what will come inside basically? This 2 pi is a constant, so forget about the constant. Constants don't have a unit, so no need to write it. we are talking about this T and capital T, small t, capital T, both have the unit time. Okay, so T cancel. So what is remaining? Only L. Okay, only L is remaining. Okay, so what will be the answer? See, this will be sign, this will be, because this is TT, so they are cancelled, so there is no unit after sign. So only unit that is there in this question is L. So LHS is equal to RHS. So this relation is dimensionally correct. This is a dimensionally correct relationship. Okay, now let us go to the next part. Okay, next part is y is equal to a sin vt. Y is equal to a sin vt. Okay, this is the next part. Okay, so now what is v? V is basically velocity. You all know that v is velocity. If I in case didn't mention that. Okay, now just start with LHS. LHS is what? Y. Y is displacement. Displacement unit will be L. Now RHS. What will be RHS? RHS will be A. A is what? L. Okay. Sin V. V is velocity. Velocity is meter per second. Okay. This is meter per second. So meter per second will be what? LT minus 1. Okay. LT minus 1 and T is time. Okay. So time is T. So T raised to the power minus 1 into T raised to the power minus 1 into T is what? 1. These two, they will give 1. Okay, so what will remain is L. So basically this is multiplication of two units, L and L. Okay, this is multiplication of two units that are L and L. Okay, so what will it become? L square. It will become L square. So this equation is incorrect. LHS is not equal to RHS in this case. Okay. Next question, let's do. Okay, next one is y is equal to a upon t sin t upon a. Okay, now just solve LHS first. LHS is L and RHS will be, A is maximum displacement, so the unit for A will also be L. Okay, sin T upon A. So T is time, A is again L, A is again displacement, so it will be L. Okay, so let us solve this one. This is LT minus 1 and this one is sin TL minus 1. Okay, so again LHS and RHS are not matching here. Okay, so this equation is also not valid. Okay. Next one. Okay, just first start with the left hand side. Left hand side is y will be L. Okay, so this is okay, not a problem here. RHS is A root 2 is a constant, so no need to write that one. Okay, so A is basically maximum displacement, so that will be L. Okay, in the bracket sine 2 pi is also a constant, so no need to write that. Okay, so T is T upon T plus cos again small t upon capital T. So L, basically this T and this T will cancel, and this small t and capital T both, so this is also time. Both small t and capital T have the same unit. Both small t and capital T have the same unit. Okay, so okay, basically this will be L, because this side is dimensionless. Okay, there is no dimension here because this is T upon T is 1 and T upon T is 1. So LHS is equal to RHS. So this equation is correct. This equation is correct. Okay, so this was this question. Let's do the next question. Okay, so the next question is, I will first of all read the question. A famous relation in physics relates moving mass m, okay, rest mass m naught and velocity is equal to v, speed of light c. Okay, now what is moving mass, rest mass, velocity? Even though it is not important with respect to question, but you should have a little bit idea. Moving mass is the mass of the object when it is in motion. Okay, rest mass is the mass of the object when it is at the rest, when it is like at stationary position. That is the rest mass. V is the velocity that at which that mass is moving, and speed of light is equal to c. Okay, this relation is a boy was studying this relationship according to the question. A boy was doing this relationship, so he wrote the relationship as this. He wrote the relationship like this. Okay, but actually the thing is that you can see this relationship depends upon C also. C, V, M not M. But do you see C somewhere here? No, you are not seeing that here. Okay, so the thing is that here we have to somehow substitute the value of C. Okay, so that this relationship becomes true. This relationship becomes true. So where to substitute that value? Okay, so first of all, let us check the dimension of both the sides. This side, the dimension is m, because mass is m. Okay, now look at the RHS. RHS is also m naught is also mass, so it will be m, okay, upon v square raised to the power 1 by 2. Okay, this 1 is a constant, so no need to worry about that right now. Okay, so basically this will be v square is how much? LT raised to the power -1 whole square half. Okay, in other words, this will come out to be LT minus 1. Okay, so you see, LHS is m and RHS is m upon LT minus 1. Okay, so what we have to basically make ensure that this relationship comes out to be true, this denominator where there is LT minus, if this doesn't exist, if there was no LT minus 1, then this relationship would have been true, then m is equal to m. Okay, so now this gives you a little bit idea what you have to do. So we have to make this relationship dimensionless. We have to make this relationship dimensionless. Okay, there should not be any dimension in this relationship. Okay, so how to basically do that? Okay, so if I make this dimensionless, then this LT minus 1 disappears and my problem will be solved. Okay, there will be only m and m remaining. So what you can do is you can substitute in a v square. You can write v square upon c square. You can write v square upon c square. Why it came to my mind? Because c is also meter per second and this is also meter per second. V is also meter per second, so meter per second upon meter per second is 1. There is no dimension. Okay, so if you put here c square, so your problem will be solved. So this LT minus 1 will be removed. Okay, so the answer is, the correct relationship will be what? 1 minus v square upon c square. This is the correct relationship. Okay, so this is it. Actually you should know this equation. This equation was given by Einstein. Okay, so what it tells us about, this is not important, this is the question of dimension. So we have found out the dimension and now this equation is correct. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Okay. Let us do the next question. Okay, the planet Jupiter is at a distance of 824.7 million kilometers from Earth. Okay, it's okay. I will write here. Is equal to how much? 824.7 million kilometers. Okay, now its angular diameter is measured to be 35.72 seconds of Earth. Calculate the dia of Jupiter. So this here is the question. Okay, first of all, there are some new terms that you must have not heard before. What is angular dia? Actually, angular dia is not a diameter. It is basically another word for the word arc. We have seen this term, yes, arc angle. This planet, there is this planet, and this is Earth. Say, okay, this is Earth and this is a planet, and this is its diameter b. I will assume. So this planet subtends the angle alpha, and this arc angle, this basically, this we call this as this c, the diameter. This diameter is subtending this angle. Okay, so that's why we call this angle as angular dia. In some books you can see the word angular dia. Generally it is known as angle of arc or something like that, but angular dia is also word for this angles. This is a substitute word. Okay, now what he's talking about in this question is, okay, see carefully, this here is the planet Earth. This small one is the planet Earth. Okay, and this big planet is the Jupiter planet. Okay, now this Jupiter planet is basically this, it is of this size and it is subtending an angle on the earth which is measured out to be how much? 35.72 seconds. Okay, and the distance between Jupiter and earth is how much? 824.7 into 10 raised to the power 6 kilometers into 10 raised to the power 6 kilometers. Okay, I will write million. Okay, we will convert it later. I will show you how to convert and everything. So this is the question here. What we have to find is, we have to find this B. B is the diameter of Jupiter. B is the diameter of Jupiter. Okay, so now you have studied the relationship already. Say at this distance is D, capital D. Okay, now you already studied the relationship between B, D and alpha. So the relationship is as follows. B upon D is equal to alpha. We have studied this relationship before, so we are going to use this relationship. Now before using the relationship, there are some conditions that are to be met. Okay, without them being met, you can't proceed in this question. Okay, so first of all, the angle alpha, that should be in radians. This is the first condition. Okay, and the distance, they both should be in meters. Okay, so now we will convert the distance into, first of all we will convert the distance into meters. So this is, D is how much? 824.7 billion kilometer. Okay, so million is how much? Into 10 raised to the power 6 kilometer. Okay, now if you want to convert this into meter, how much will you multiply it by? You multiply it by 10 raised to the power 3. Meter. So roughly you get how much? 824.7 into 10 raised to the power 9 meters. This is the distance between planet Earth and Jupiter in meters. Okay. Now the next thing, the angle that is given to you, it is given you in the form of seconds. The angle is given you in form of seconds. That is 35.72 minutes. Okay, so first you have to convert it into radian. You have to convert it into radian because angle is always taken in radian form. So how will you do that? Basically, just first of all convert this into degrees. It is in second, so convert it into degrees. Okay, so just divide it by 60 into 60. Okay, this 60 to convert to minute and this 60 to convert to degree. Okay, so now you will get something. Okay, this is the value of alpha in degrees. This is the value of alpha in degrees. Okay, next thing that you are going to do is convert it into radians. You are going to convert it into radians. How do you convert it into radians? You multiply it by pi upon 180. Okay, now just upon solving this, the value we get is 4.85 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 radians. This is the value you get. Okay, first of all you convert seconds to degrees, then you convert degree to radian, and this is the value you get for the angle. Okay, now just substitute here all the values. So B is equal to D alpha. Okay, so D is how much? 824.7 into 10 raised to the power 9 into 4.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. Okay, so this approximately comes out to be 1.43 into 10 raised to the power 8. So this is the answer here. Okay, this is the answer here. Okay, so this was this question. This is a good question, they can ask in exam. Okay, next one. Okay, the question is a man is walking in rain with speed v. Okay, there is a man. Okay, and he has an umbrella. Okay, he has an umbrella and he is walking in rain. The rain is falling. Okay, now the things that are given in this question are basically the angle of the man with the angle of this umbrella is theta with respect to the vertical. Okay, and the velocity of the man is v. Okay, the rain is falling down vertically. Okay, so they have given an equation to us that the relationship between this man's velocity and this angle theta of the umbrella is tan theta. This is the relationship they have given us. So they are saying us that is this relationship correct or not? Is this relationship correct or not? But this is what they have asked us in the question. Okay. So how will you proceed in this question is basically just look at this relationship carefully. Is this relationship true or not? They have asked us. So left hand side the relationship is LT raised to the power minus 1. Okay, LT raised to the power minus 1. This is left hand side. And RHS, we have tan theta, and tan theta is always dimensionless. Okay, tan theta is always dimensionless. Okay, so is this relationship dimensionally correct or not? No, this is not dimensionally correct because this is LT minus 1 and this is dimensionless. So this is not correct. So how to make this correct? Okay, see, RHS is already dimensionless. If you make LHS also dimensionless, then your problem is solved, right? Then your problem is solved. Okay, so how will you proceed in this question is, you will proceed with the LHS. Okay, how to make it dimensionless? If you divide V by velocity again, if you divide this by V again, then your problem is solved. Yes, then it will also become dimensionless. Okay, so just write here V upon, you can use the term U for velocity because we have already used V, so you will write here U. U is initial velocity. So this is the correct relationship because you see V upon U, both have same unit, so they are dimensionally, this is also dimensionless and this is also dimensionless, so this is dimensionally correct. And now you can say that this relationship is true. This relationship is true. Okay, so this is this question. This is one marker they can ask, very easy question. Okay, next question, let's do. Okay, now the next question is it is claimed that two cesium clocks, if allowed to run for 100 years, okay, free from any disturbance, they may differ by about 0.02 second. Okay, so this is the question. There are two cesium clocks. Okay, if allowed to run for 100 years, Okay, then they have given us differ by 0.2 seconds. Okay, what is the accuracy of a standard cesium clock in 1 second? Okay, so they have asked us the accuracy in 1 second. Okay, first of all, I will tell you that basically accuracy is just the inverse of error. If you find the error in 1 second, okay, and take the inverse of that, you will find the accuracy, how accurate is that clock. Okay, because accuracy is directly proportional to error. Lesser is the error, okay, more is the accuracy. Okay, so basically you will just inverse the error to find the accuracy. Accuracy and error are inversely related to each other. Accuracy is inversely related to error. Why? Because see, lesser is the error. If less error decreases, you all know, if the error decreases, what happens to accuracy? Accuracy increases, right? We have studied this before, okay? Because if the error is less, you are more closer to the true value. You are more closer to the true value, rest. So you can say that accuracy is inversely proportional to error. This is a very important relationship, okay? It is not given in the book, so you should all know that accuracy is inversely proportional to error. As the error decreases, the accuracy increases. Or in other words, if the error increases, what happens to the accuracy? Accuracy will go down. Okay, so we have to use this relationship. Okay, so to find the accuracy, first we will find the error in 1 second. Okay, so first of all, the clocks have been allowed to run for 100 years. So total time they have run for is, total time clocks run for is equal to 100 years. Okay, now just convert this into seconds, because they have asked in 1 second. Okay, so this will be 100 into 365 into 24 into 60 into 60. Okay, so this is the total time the clocks have run for. Okay, just because why 100 into 365 number of days in a year, 24 is the number of hours in a day, and 60 is to convert this into minutes, and into 60 to convert it into seconds. Okay, so the clocks are allowed to run for 100 years, differ by 0.2 seconds. So they have told us that if they run for 100 years, they differ by 2 seconds, 0.2 seconds. Okay, if they run for 1 second, see, in 100 years the error is how much? 0.2 second. In 100 years the error is 0.2 seconds. Okay, now in 1 second how much is the error? If they run for error is equal to how much? You can use the unitary method here. Okay, basically 0.2 divided by 100 into 365 into 24 into 60 into 60. Okay, for this number of seconds, whatever is the value, you can calculate. I will calculate this later on. For this number of seconds, the error is how much? 0.2 seconds. Okay, if the two clocks run for this number of seconds, the error between them is 0.2 seconds. In 1 second, what will be the error? 0.2 divided by this number of seconds, whatever this value is. Okay, so now this value comes out to be how much? This comes out to be 6.34 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. Okay, 10 raised to the power minus 12. Okay, now this is the error in 1 second. Okay, what will be the accuracy in 1 second? accuracy in 1 second will be 1 upon the error. So 1 upon error. Error was how much? 6.34 into 10 raised to the power minus 12. Okay, so in other words, what will be the accuracy? 1 upon 6.34, basically it comes out to be, wait, it comes out to be 0.16, okay, 0.16 into 10 raised to the power 12, okay, or you can write it like 1.6 into 10 raised to the power, sorry, this is the answer, okay, the accuracy is 0.16 into, you can leave it here, 0.16 into 10 raised to the power 12, okay, this is your accuracy, okay, and one thing more, this is a unitless quantity, okay, this is a unitless quantity like the error, okay, so the accuracy of this clock is 0.6 into 10 raised to the power 12, okay, so 0.16 into 10 raised to the power 12, okay, now let us do the next question. This is a very important formula, right? You just note this down. Accuracy is inversely proportional to error. More is the error, less is the accuracy. Okay. Let us do the next question. Okay. Now this is a very long question, so I will first of all read it to you so that I can explain you this big question. So the principle of parallax is, this is the question. Okay, principle of parallax is used in determination of distances of very distant stars. You know this principle. Okay, the baseline AB is the line joining the Earth two locations 6 months apart in its orbit around the Sun. Okay, I will write it. Baseline AB joining Earth's two location 6 months apart. Okay, now in its orbit around Sun. Okay, now the baseline is about the diameter of, okay, they have written it that the baseline is about the is equal to dia of orbit of Earth. Okay, I will explain to you everything but the talking in the question, don't worry. Okay, and this is equal to, this value is approximately equal to 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 meters. Okay, however, the question is written, even the nearest stars are so distant that with such long baseline they show parallel only of order of 1 second of arc or so. So what he is trying to tell you that, see, okay, I will read the question then I will explain you. A parsec is a convenient unit of length on astronomical scale. It is the distance of an object that will show a parallax of 1 second of arc from opposite ends equal to distance from Earth to the Sun. How much is parsec in terms of meter? Okay, I will explain you what is talking in the question. First of all, he is saying that some stars, okay, there are so far. Okay, what is the baseline? First we will see. See, this is the earth. Okay, this is the earth, and this is the sun, assume it, and this is the earth. Okay, this is the earth, and it is rotating in a circular path around the sun. Okay, now he is talking about some baseline. Okay, he is telling that there is a baseline AB. Okay, joining Earth's two locations 6 months apart. Okay, so you all know that when Earth does a full revolution of 12 months, it comes back to its original position. Yes, because one full revolution is known as 1 year. You all know that, yes. Okay, this here is the revolution of the Earth. After 12 months, Earth comes back to this position. Okay, but after 6 months, where will the Earth be? Earth will be somewhere here. There will be the second location of Earth. Okay, now but this is what he means by this term where he has written two locations 6 months apart. So when I join these two locations, okay, this is known as baseline. I will name this AB. This is your baseline AB he is talking about. This is your baseline AB he is talking about. Okay, now he has told us one thing, that baseline is equal to dia of orbit of Earth. So basically baseline is equal to the diameter of orbit of Earth. That is a very obvious thing, right? So this AB is equal to, he has given as how much? 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 meter. Okay, next thing that he has told us in the question is that some stars are so far, okay, some stars are so far that even if we have this long baseline, even if we have a baseline that is this much long, 3 into 10 raised to, this is C. What does he mean by this baseline points A and B? They are the 2 points of observation. In the parallax effects, you need 2 points of observation, right? And then you observe the one common point. The same thing is being said here. These A and B are the observation points, and you can see how far they are each from each other. 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 meters. Okay, they are this much far from each other. So he has told us that even if we make the angle of arc from these 2 points, the angle is so small. It is approximately like, see, he's telling us that this angle is approximately 1 second. 1 second. Okay, this angle subtended by from these 2 points at the far away stars is so small. Okay, so now this is the next thing is written in the question, that the parsec is a convenient unit of length on the astronomical scale. Okay, now to measure this so long distances where the Earth, Suns, the stars subtend an angle of 1 second at the baseline. Okay, we have to use the different unit. We use a different unit that is known as parsec. What is that unit known as? Parsec. This is a very important concept I am telling you here. The unit is known as parsec. Okay, and what is the definition of parsec? Parsec is the, according to the question, parsec is the distance of an object that will show an parallax. Parallax means an angle. Okay, this angle we are talking about. Okay, parallax of 1 second. Okay, of arc from opposite ends of baseline equal to distance between Earth and Sun. Now this is a very important term here. See, parsec is the distance of an object that will show a parallax of 1 second of arc from opposite ends of baseline equal to distance between Earth and Sun. So what is the distance between Earth and Sun? It will be from the center of Sun to the center of Earth. So this is the distance between Earth and Sun. Okay, this is ES. I will name this ES, Earth Sun distance. Okay, so what he is trying to tell in the question, now forget about this thing, we are not talking about this thing. What is parsec now we are talking about? Okay, so he is saying that parsec, what is parsec is? Parsec is the distance of an object, okay, somewhere there will be this object we are talking about, okay, distance of an object that will show an parallax of one second. Okay, so just make this diagram. Show an parallax of 1 second of arc from opposite of ends of baseline equal to distance between Earth and Sun. Now he has told us that the ends of the baseline are equal to the distance of Sun and Earth. So the two ends of the baseline will be this and this. This is the baseline, but the two ends that are equal to distance between Earth and Sun are this much. Okay, so this and this. Pardon my drawing, it's little bit pretty much long. Just for your imagination, I made this much long. Okay, so this is the angle we are talking about. This angle here is 1 second. Okay, and we have to find this distance is known as 1 parsec. This distance is known as 1 parsec. Okay, I will repeat what is 1 parsec. 1 parsec is basically, okay, I will give you one more thing that is important. Forget about this concept of baseline. This ES, okay, this is the distance between Earth and Sun. Okay, this is approximately equal to how much? ES will be equal to how much? See, this distance, forget, okay, line AB is how much? AB is equal to 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 meter, right? From here to here is 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 meter. What will be from here to here? ES will be 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 by 2. So this is 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 11 meter. Now this distance 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 11 meters is known as 1 AU. Okay, this is known as 1 AU. What is the meaning of AU? AU is basically astronomical unit. Okay, AU is basically 1 astronomical unit. Okay, so what is the definition of parsec? Basically 1 parsec is the distance at which the distant object, whatever it is, star or anything, subtends an angle of 1 second on 1 astronomical unit. On 1 astronomical unit. This length is known as 1 astronomical unit. No need to write baseline or anything. Okay, I will repeat the definition again for you. 1 parsec is the distance at which the star subtends an angle of 1 second at the distance of 1 astronomical unit. 1 astronomical unit is basically the distance between the Earth and Sun, and that is 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 11 meter. Okay, so this is, I hope this concept is, this is a very important concept. Okay, this is a very important concept that should be clear. Okay, now let us do the question now. Okay, so we have to find the value of this parsec. Okay, now look carefully. I will name this point as O. So this is a triangle OES. OES. Okay. Okay, now in triangle OES, ES upon AO. Length of arc upon distance between the planet and the object is AO is equal to theta, or you can write 1 second. Okay, now you should all know that this 1 second you can't take like this directly. You have to convert it into radian. Okay, so how will you convert it into radian? 1 second. This is 1 second, yes. So 1 second you will convert it into radians. First of all, convert to degree. 1 upon 60 into 60. This is, once this is done, then multiply it by pi by 180 to convert it into radians. Okay, so this value is approximately 4.85 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. Okay, so this is the value of theta, 1 second in radians. Now you have found out this value. Now in this equation, what else you know? You know the value of ES. ES is how much? 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 11. So 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 11 divided by AO is equal to 4.85 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. Okay, so just solve this. So AO comes out to be, AO is 1 parsec. Okay, so AO comes out to be 3 into 10 raised to the power 16 meter. Okay, so 1 parsec is basically 3 into 10 raised to the power 16 meters. This is the value of 1 parsec. Okay, so sometimes you will see a light year, sometimes you will see parsec. These are the two most common units that are being used to find distances between the planets. Okay, or between the planet and the stars. Okay, so you will see this unit being used quite often. And what is 1 Armstrong unit? 1 astronomical unit is basically the distance between the Earth and the Sun. Okay, so this was about this concept. This is a pretty important concept that you should know. Okay, this concept has been covered by this question. Okay, so okay. So for your all convenience, I will write the values of 1 light year, 1 astronomical unit, and 1. These values you should remember. Okay, they can ask you in 1 marker. So 1 astronomical unit is equal to, see, it is 1.496 into 10 raised to the power 11 meter. This is actually the exact value, but just take it in an approximate as 1.5. You can no need to remember this 1.496. I know it's difficult. Okay. Next thing is light year. 1 light year is how do you find the value of light year? It is a distance traveled by light in 1 year. Okay. So speed of light is 3 into 10 raised to the power 8. Okay. Into 365 into 24 into 60 into 60. This is how the value of light year is calculated. Okay, and this value is 9.46 into 10 raised to the power 15 meter. Okay, okay, or you can approximate this to 9.5. And 1 parsec is equal to how much? 3.08 into 10 raised to the power 16, okay, meters. That is approximately equal to 3 into 10 raised to the power 16 meter. And this is approximately equal to 3.26 light years. Okay, so this is even bigger than light year. You see, light year is 3.26 times light year. Okay, so basically these two are the most commonly used units. Okay, this unit is astronomical unit, is basically used to measure distance in the solar system, and these two are used to measure between different galaxies and stars and all that. Okay, so these three are important values. You should remember these values, and I have shown you how to calculate these values also. Okay, so just remember them. They will be useful to you. Okay, so now we will go forward and do the next question. Okay. Next question. Next question is related to this topic only. Okay. So the nearest star to our planet is 4.29 light years away. Okay, I will write it. How much is this distance in terms of parsec? Okay, and how much parallax would this star named Alpha Centauri? Show when okay, this is the question. See, they're talking about a star by the name Alpha Centauri. Okay, this is the nearest star to our solar system. Okay, and they are saying that this star is approximately 4.29 light years. Okay, first of all, they have asked us, is the first thing that they have asked us is that how much is this distance in terms of parsec? They have asked us is that how much is this term in terms of parsec? Okay, so we just studied a few minutes ago. Okay, the relationship between parsec and light years. First we will convert it into parsec. Just first we will do that. Then we will see what to do forward. Okay, so first we will see that thing. Okay, so we have studied that 1 parsec is equal to 3.26 light years. 1 parsec is approximately is equal to 3.26 light years. I have just shown you this. Okay, now 4.2 light years is equal to how many parsec? Just divide these two. 4.29 divided by 3.26. Okay, and this comes out to be 1.32. Okay, so this is that they have given to us. Okay, now read this is the first part of the question. First part is done. Okay, next thing is how much parallax would this star show when viewed from two locations 6 months apart? So here are the two locations that are 6 months apart. See, this is the revolution of Earth, right? Here is the middle, in the middle there is Sun. So these are the two locations 6 months apart. Say this distance will subtend how much angle? Somewhere here will be Alpha Centauri. So this. Okay, and here asks how much parallax would this star. Parallax basically means the angle. So he is asking this angle. Okay, he is asking this angle. Okay, now what all things are given to you in this question? They have given you this distance between the star and the Earth, they have given you this distance, right? This is how much? This and this distance both are same, right? How much is the distance? This is 1.32 parsec. parsec. Okay, so now they have asked us that how much this parsec will, how much angle will this parsec subtend. Okay, so there are two ways to do this question. First of all, you know what is 1 parsec. 1 parsec is when angle of 1 minute is subtended at a distance that is equal to half of this. That is equal to half of this. Okay. So in other words, 1 parsec subtend how much angle? 1 parsec subtend approximately this much angle. Okay. 1 parsec subtends approximately 1 second of angle. We have seen this. Okay. So 1.32 parsec, and this subtends at an distance at an angle at a distance of Earth, distance between Earth and the Sun. This subtends at a distance of Earth, distance between Earth and Sun. Okay, this 1 parsec subtends the angle at the distance of 1 astronomical unit. That is this much. Okay, but here in this question is talking about this much distance. He's talking about this much distance. Okay, so first of all, 1 parsec subtends this much angle. Okay, at this much distance. Okay, what will be the angle at this much distance? It will be into 2. That will be 2 minutes at a distance of, that is at a location of 6 months. If this is 1 minute 1 second, and this will be also 1 second, right? Okay, now we are talking about 1.32 parsec distance. 1.32 parsec will subtend how much? Okay, so basically 1 parsec subtended 1 minute 1 second. So 1.32 will subtend how much? 1.32 second, right? 1.32 second. Okay, 1.32 parsec will subtend 1.32 second. Okay, but we are talking about that angle between 6 months apart location, not between the distance of Earth and Sun. So just multiply it by 2. So this will be 2.64. Okay, some people might not have understood this method. So for their convenience, I will show another method. Just use the conventional method. You know this alpha. This alpha is equal to this distance. Just say this as AB. AB upon, just say this as O. So AB upon AO. This is the value of alpha, right? This is the value of alpha. So we have to find out this alpha only. Okay, so what is the value of AB? AB is how much? Basically the diameter of the Earth's orbit. So this will be 1.5 into 10 raised to the power 11. Okay, into 2 divided by AO. AO is how much? 1.32 parsec. And convert it into meter. So how to convert it into meter? You will just multiply by 3 into 10 raised to the power 16. 16. So just try and solve this. So this is 2. This is 1. Okay. So 1 upon 1.32 into how much? 10 raised to the power minus 5. Okay, now note this thing, that this angle that you get, it is in the form of radian. So you can write in form of radian, but if they have asked you to convert it to second, how will you convert it into second? Since this angle is very small, so convert it to second. Just what will you do is, I will show you. So 1 upon 1.32 into 10 raised to the power minus 5, okay, into 60 into 60 into 180 upon pi. This is what you will do to find the angle in form of seconds. Okay, you can leave it at radian also. This is also the correct answer. Okay, so I showed you the two methods. You can do this question by two methods. This is an important question. It is the application of parsec that we have just studied 10 minutes ago. Okay, so now let us go to the next question. Okay, I think we have done. Okay, we will do one more from this topic. Just looking for the question. Okay. Question is estimate average mass density of sodium atom assuming its size is equal to 2.5 angstrom. Okay, compare it density of sodium in crystalline phase 970 kg per meter cube. Are the two densities of same order of magnitude? Okay, what he has given to us in the question is that we have to find the average mass density of a sodium atom. Okay, assuming its size to be 2.5 angstrom. Angstrom is what? If you don't know, just angstrom is another unit. It is a unit that is used to measure microscopic distance. Like we have studied light year and all, they are used to measure large distance. Angstrom is just represented by A naught, and it is used to measure basically microscopic distance. And 1 angstrom is equal to 10 raised to the power minus 10 meter. In case you didn't know, I am just writing this for you. Okay. Okay. So they have given us that the radius. They have given us that the radius of the sodium atom is 2.5 angstrom or 2.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 10 meter. Okay, we have to find its mass density. We have to find its mass density. Okay, first we have to find that one, and then we have to compare that density with the density of sodium in crystalline phase. Okay, and we have to find the density if the densities are in same order. We have studied what is order, right? It is the power that we raise the 10 to. Okay, we will see that in detail. So the radius is given to us in the question. Okay, so okay, we have to find the density. Density is what? Density is equal to mass upon volume. Okay, density is mass upon volume. Okay, so volume is how much? First of all, see mass. Mass is how much? Of 1 mole of sodium has a mass of how much? 23 grams. We are talking about 1 mole here. Okay, 1 mole has 23 grams of mass. Okay, this is approximately 0.023 kg. Okay, what will be the volume of 1 mole of sodium atoms? First of all, what is the volume of one sodium atom? Volume of is equal to how much? 4 by 3 pi r cube. Just assume it to be a sphere. So volume of sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Okay, so just substitute in the values. 4 by 3 into pi, radius is how much? 10 is 2.5 into 10 is to power minus 3. Okay, so this is the volume. Okay, now you know the volume of one atom. So in 1 mole there are how many atoms? Just multiply it by Avogadro number. Okay, so upon multiplying it by Avogadro number, just multiply it by number, volume of 1 mole, because we are taking 1 mole of sodium mass, so we will calculate the volume of 1 mole. Okay, so Avogadro number was how much? 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. Okay, so just substitute in the value. Okay, this value comes out to be approximately this is the volume of 1 mole of this sodium atom. Okay, to find the density, just divide mass upon volume. This volume is in meter cube. Okay, so this is 0.023 divided by this term, whatever this is, 06. Okay, and upon calculating this value, the answer we get is this is the density that we get. Okay, and the density for this one is how much? Crystalline phase is 970, or you can write like 0.97 into 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube. Now why I wrote in this form? Because we have to find the order. Okay, to find the order, the term should be like this, in this form: A into 10 to the power n, where A is 0.5 greater than and less than 5, greater than 0.5 and less than 5. So we have to convert it into this form, and then we will find the value of n. So A is 0.7 for this one, it lies between 0.5 and 0 and 5, so order will be 3 for this one, and the order for the second case is also 3. So can we say that both have the same order? Yes. Okay, so the answer is yes, they both have the same order of magnitude. Okay, let's do the next question. Okay, they have given you the length of a cylinder, that is 4.00 plus minus 0.001 centimeter. Okay, next thing they have given you is the radius, that is 0.0250 plus minus centimeter. Okay, mass is also given to you 6.25 plus minus 0.0 grams. What we have to find is percentage error in density. So this is the question that they have given to you. Okay, here we are talking about what? We are talking about a cylinder. This is a cylinder, okay. What they have given you in the question is length of the cylinder, the radius of the cylinder, and the mass of the cylinder. They have given you these three values. What we have to find out is the error in the density of the cylinder, in the density of the cylinder. So first of all, what is the formula for density? Mass upon volume. Mass upon volume. Okay. So before I proceed with anything, see, the units are in centimeter. This is in centimeter and this is in gram. So you can proceed with the question. Okay, because both are in, same units. Okay, so no need to convert it into meter or kg because all are in same type. This is centimeter, this is a CGS type. Centimeter, centimeter and gram. Okay, so not a problem, no need to convert. Okay, mass you know already 6.25 and whatever. Okay, next thing is the volume. Volume is how much for a cylinder? How much is the volume? Pi r square L. Pi r square L is the volume for cylinder. Now just look at this carefully. This is a question that we have done before. Delta Z upon Z. Sorry. For Z, use this formula. For Z is equal to A raised to the power N, B raised to the power M, Q raised to the power R. Delta Z upon Z is equal to, just use this formula, N delta A upon A plus M delta B upon B plus R delta Q upon Q. Just use this formula. Okay, so delta pi is a constant, so forget about it. Okay, no need to write. Delta density upon density is equal to delta M upon M. Okay, now this one has a power of 2. So what will happen to the power? When it comes on the top, what will happen to the power? It will be